Have ancient artists been trying to tell us something? Because when you start looking closely at old paintings, you begin to notice strange objects in the sky, beams of light, and even what appear to be battles above the earth. I'm Frisbee, and tonight we're going hunting through the strangest skies in art history. This is Curious Cat Case Files. Now, to be fair, not every strange shape in an old painting is a flying machine. A lot of ancient and medieval art is deeply symbolic, but some of these images are so unusual, so specific, that people have spent decades arguing over what they really show. And honestly, I understand why. For most of history, the sky was not just weather. It was mystery. It was warning. It was the realm of gods, judgment, omens, and things no one could explain. So when people saw something unusual overhead, they didn't describe it like modern engineers. They described it with the language they had: faith, fire, wheels, shields, angels, signs, and wonders. And then come the details that make you stop. Because sometimes these paintings do not just show heaven. Sometimes they show shapes that look oddly object-like. Let's start with one of the most famous examples of all, the crucifixion fresco at the Visoki Dečani monastery in Kosovo. In the upper corners of the fresco, two unusual forms streak through the sky. Each contains what appears to be a figure inside. To many modern viewers, they look less like symbols and more like craft, almost as if two objects are moving across the heavens during the crucifixion itself. It is one of those images that instantly triggers debate. Now, I know what you're thinking. That looks weird. And yes, it does. But weird does not automatically mean extraterrestrial. So let's keep our paws on the ground for a moment. The standard explanation is that these are symbolic depictions of the sun and moon. That was common in Christian art, especially in scenes of the crucifixion, where all creation is shown reacting to the event. That interpretation fits the religious tradition, but visually the forms still strike modern audiences as unusually mechanical. If that were the only one, maybe we could shrug and move on. But it isn't. In another well-known painting, often called Madonna with St. Giovannino, a small background detail steals the entire show. Above the landscape appears a strange object in the sky. Below it, a man seems to be staring upward, hand raised toward his brow, while even the dog beside him appears fixed on the same point. That combination is what makes this image so fascinating. It does not feel decorative, it feels noticed. This is where modern eyes collide with old symbolism. Some people see a cloud or divine sign, others see something hovering, and once you see it one way, it is hard to unsee it. The traditional reading is that this is a stylized celestial sign, perhaps a radiant cloud or symbolic heavenly presence. That makes sense in the visual vocabulary of the time, but the object-like appearance is exactly why this painting keeps resurfacing in every conversation about unexplained imagery in old art. Now let's move to a painting that may be the closest thing Renaissance art ever got to depicting a directed beam from above. In Carlo Crivelli's Annunciation with St. Emidus, a circular opening appears in the sky, and from it descends a bright focused beam toward Mary. Within Christian theology, this represents divine conception and heavenly intervention. But stripped of context, the image looks almost startlingly modern, like an aperture above the city projecting light downward with intent. It is beautiful, symbolic, and undeniably strange. That is the problem with mysteries like these. They often have perfectly reasonable explanations, and still look unbelievably odd. But sacred paintings are only part of this story. Because once we move into 16th century sky reports, the mystery becomes even more dramatic. This next case is one of the wildest sky accounts ever illustrated. In April of 1561, a broadsheet from Nuremberg described a strange spectacle in the dawn sky. Witnesses reported seeing shapes like spheres, crosses, and long cylindrical forms. Some objects appeared to emerge from others. Some seemed to move in formation. Some reportedly fell burning toward the earth. The illustration that survives looks like a battle in the heavens, chaotic, active, and unnerving. Whether this was a misunderstood natural phenomenon or something far stranger, the imagery is unforgettable. This is where the conversation changes, because now we are not just looking at mysterious objects in the background of religious paintings. Now we are looking at what seems like an event. Historians and skeptics often point to atmospheric optics, sundogs, halos, refracted light, and other rare sky effects. Seen through the fear and religious mindset of the period, those effects may have been transformed into a dramatic report of combat in the sky. That is plausible. But even so, the account remains one of the strangest ever put into print. Then came Basel in 1566. Another illustrated report. Another strange sky event. This time dark spheres were said to appear in the heavens, moving in a way that unsettled witnesses and invited ominous interpretation. One report can be called a fluke. Two begin to form a pattern. So what are we really looking at? Religious language wrapped around natural events? Artists painting symbols that modern viewers misread? Or scattered moments when human beings saw something unusual above them and recorded it as best they could? Maybe the answer is not that ancient paintings prove anything extraordinary. Maybe the deeper mystery is that across centuries, cultures, and artistic traditions, the sky keeps appearing as a place of activity, warning, and presence. A place where something is happening. And whether that something was symbolic, natural, divine, psychological, or truly unexplained, the images remain, still watching us, still asking to be seen. What do you think these paintings really show? Symbols, sky phenomena, or evidence that people in the distant past may have witnessed things they could not explain? Tell me in the comments, and subscribe for more mysteries, forgotten history, and curious clues from the past. I'm Frisbee, and this has been Curious Cat Case Files.